lips, the teeth, the tip of the tongue. Hello, bristles. Apologies for the sound quality on this intro. I'm shooting it on my webcam. This video is long overdue. I'm a chronic procrastinator. Today I'm going to finish painting the Khorne Bloodbound Blood Warriors of the Skullfiend tribe. And this video is focused on the head. I'm going to be painting some lovely rouge armor. And yeah, that should wrap it up. So without any more delays, enjoy the video. Cheerio. Right, so before we even go near paint for the helmets, I'm going to suggest you do the eyes first, because it's a lot easier to do the eyes now than to try and get into those tiny gaps in the helmets later and paint them. Likewise, if you've gone and painted a lovely face, you don't want to go mess up your skin job. Skin job? What the hell is that? You don't want to mess up your paint job on the skin when you go in to do the eyes either. So for starters, rack art flesh. Next, it's going to be black, isn't it? To dot the eyes. Gotcha. Rhinox hide. Water it down nice and thin. I'm not even using a really small brush here. And instead of trying to do a perfect circle, I'm just going to run the brush down the middle, or if he's looking to the side, just make sure you have the eyes both looking the same way. Otherwise, it's going to look a little bit goofy. And when the brown is dry, then we're going to come in with a dot of black. This applies to both the helmetless heads and the helmeted heads. Now we're going to add a little bit of pop with a tiny dot of pallid witch flesh in the white of the eyes with that tiny brush. Now, time to start the helmets, and we're going to use Khorne red for the base. This red just covers excellently, so we're going to have a really nice foundation here. That takes me back to the old foundation paints. Who remembers those? Bloody loved them. Anyway, Khorne red, just put it on the armor panels of the helmet. Decent coverage. If you need to do another layer, go ahead and do that, because you want full clean coverage. You don't want streaky lines or anything, so remember, thin coats, multiple layers, and you're done. Don't forget to get into those panels on the affectionately named bunny ears of the Khorne helmets. You know, maybe Khorne's just really misunderstood and he's actually just a cuddly bunny. And he doesn't know his own strength and he always hurts the ones he loves. That's why he's associated with bloodshed. Poor devil. Next up, Mephiston red. We're going to take that and water it down nicely, so that it flows as we wish. And we're just going to highlight up the helmet there with that and leave enough of the Khorne red behind. When it comes to the lovely bunny ears though, I'm going to focus mainly on the upper half of them to create like a gradient, where it's going to be the darker red close to the bottom and then the brighter at the top. And as we go along, you'll see this work more. So at this point, we're doing about 2/3 the way down and pulling the pigment from the bottom up to the top where we want most of the pigment to settle. Again, this is why we have our paints nice and thin. So it's more like it's staining the lower half slightly. And likewise with the back of the helmet at the dome, we're going to pull it up to the top of the curvature because we're envisaging the light source from above. So that's where it's going to be the brightest point. No harm in also just edge highlighting those edges at the bottom rim of the helmet. Don't forget the backs of your bunny ears as well. Got to make sure you're clean behind the ears, or you'll be growing potatoes in all the dirt that's there, huh? Good yield this year, huh? Oh, them new potatoes, the new season ones, lovely and flowery, huh? Cornblood warriors are just farmers that had a bad crop. And once we build up a few layers of that, painting less and less gradually up towards them bunny ears, we're going to come in with some Evil Sun Scarlet and repeat the same process. Smaller surface area, finer line highlights on those sharp defined features of the face. Hit those prominent areas, and each time is gradually less and less. And then when it comes to our lovely wee bunny ears, gonna focus again more towards the top and just leave that. Just remember to be careful around your eyes. It's a lot easier to fix the helmet than it is to go back in and have to fix the eyes. That's why we did the eyes beforehand, because it's a right pain in the arse to try and tidy up the eyes in those tiny spaces. Moving on, one of our final highlights is a Troll Slayer Orange. You're not going to need to water down this too much because it's already quite a thin paint, as are all the orange and yellow paints in the GW range. Not a criticism, just an observation. So, very fine highlights here on the face to bring out some definition and contour. Those beautiful features of the face, and draw attention there. And when it comes to highlighting the bunny ears, instead of what we were doing before, which is pulling the pigment to the top, we're just going to use light stippling and be a bit more intentional and focus these highlights mostly in where the main body of paint is from the last layer of red, and avoid the parts where we have pulled through the pigment. But right up at the very top, we'll have a nice solid colour. Next up, Fire Dragon Bright. Rinse and repeat, do the same thing again, but this time we're just doing like little dots on the very sharpest points of the areas we've highlighted on those defining features of the face mask. Very top of the dome. At the top of those bunny ears, we're just going to give little dot highlights. This is how we're looking overall. Now, if you ask me, they're a little too bright and lacking a little bit of depth. So what I like to do here is get some Rhinox hide and a healthy dose of Ishka, some H2O, gotta keep hydrated, especially in these dropping temperatures in the cold weather. Your skin is getting dry. Gotta make sure you stay hydrated, stay healthy. Dr. Baus says so. Gonna thin that down, and whereas before we pulled the pigment to the top of the bunny ears and to the highest points, we're instead going to pull this kind of wash of the Rhinox hide into the shadowed areas, to the recesses and the areas we want darker. So the bottom of the bunny ears, any of those deep pitted areas on the armor, and there's no harm in going right up to the gold trim to try and make a more defined split between the two different areas. And don't forget to get in between them lovely pearly, no, not pearly whites, painted them red. I suppose get in there to them crimson fiacla darg, huh? get in there and make them a bit more defined. I'm going to zoom in close here. Look at these pretty boys. Must say, very happy with how these helmets are turning out. But in saying that, this is not my first time shooting this, because the first time I painted them, I was not happy at all. You will have seen in the past video, or in the first video, the Blood Warrior in that video had a helmet painted differently from these. Wasn't happy with that, so reshot the whole thing, and here we are at what I think is a better helmet. So yeah, just darkening up a few areas, and you can immediately see the difference it creates with some higher contrast between the darkest parts of the red and the very bright part. Again, build that up over layers, gradually smaller and smaller surface area until right in the very smallest recesses we have our strongest, almost pure Rhinox hide, undiluted, but never go fully to undiluted Rhinox hide. And with that, the heads are done. Really happy with these. I hope you find some of this useful in painting not just the heads and helmets of some Khorne boys, but also in painting any red armor that you kind of want to look like this. I'm going to throw up some finished shots now of the unit and see how they look. And here's the gang trekking across the realm of fire, trying something different with the end of video photography. Just an area I want to improve on. Hope you enjoyed the video and you learned something from it. And remember, stay safe, stay smart, and be good to yourselves, be good to each other, and have a lovely week. Bristle Boss out.